again, calling out that guy in the comment section last time, he was right in a way. So if you've been following my advice, then hopefully you've gone out there and started sending cold emails to acquire clients. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is how do you really measure the success of your cold email campaigns? How do you know that it's performing well versus it's underperforming? Well, that's what I want to talk about, and the way I want to do that first is showing you again an update to our campaigns so far. Now, I'm going to call someone out. In the comment section last time, someone commented saying that my results so far are crappy. And they weren't entirely wrong, to be honest. So we didn't really send that many emails so far. In our completed campaign so far, we only sent 200 emails, which isn't really enough to get great results. However, again, calling out that comment again, we have landed an additional two clients. So let me explain. So when I first started this video series, I said we landed our first client. I showed you guys the stats. It was, I don't know, 150 emails, something like that, and we landed that first client. We set up another campaign, which is the final batch of that. So overall, it's 200 sent now. And we landed another client from this just recently. Now, this client was actually 2 clients wrapped up in one. We emailed a B2B company, and it turns out they have 2 B2C companies, and we basically signed a deal to work on both B2C companies. This took a little bit of negotiating to get sorted, and I mentioned it in the last video that we're negotiating with additional companies. So far that puts the stats at 200 emails sent, 5 leads, 4 video audits, 2 sales calls, 2 proposals, and 2 clients signed, with obviously one of them being 2 websites, which is really, really good if you look at the actual metrics that matters, not the open rates, not the reply rates, not the number of video audits, not the number of sales calls, but the number of clients signed, as in the ROI of the campaign. And if you look at the actual ROI, let me break down the numbers for you. It breaks down to 200 emails sent at a cost of 36 cents per person emailed. As in, it costs us 36 cents per email roughly to pay our prospector. We're paying $5 an hour, and he collects in the region of 20 leads an hour. Now, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, so I'm just saying in the region, but basically, I worked it out on the higher end of that, we're paying 36 cents per lead. Now, when they reply and they ask for a video audit, well, I don't want to do the planning for that video audit. Initially I did, but eventually I created a process. So presuming I had this process from day one, we're looking at $5 per video audit planned out. And that is where someone follows a checklist I give them, and they create a little plan for me. Actually, look at the screen now, and here's an example of how that looks. It's basically something I can look at, get an overview of what to say on this video audit, and it focuses for e-commerce on the category pages and if the main elements are optimized, like their title tag and things like that. So this just gives me a very quick overview so I can open up all the links they have for me, record a video in 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then send it over to them for efficiency. So that cost me about $5 to have that overview created by a freelancer on Upwork. So overall, for 200 emails sent and 2 clients acquired, that puts our costs at $86 per client acquired, which is really, really good from an ROI perspective in terms of the money we invest. The other thing to consider is the time invested. Well, there is the initial setup of filtering out and creating the segments of campaigns. I don't really know how long that takes, but it's not so bad. Beyond that, there is obviously managing a prospector, but that's pretty easy. He does the work, we just got to check it, and he's really good at it, so there's not really that much checking. There's importing it into Woodpecker to email out. Again, it's not that much time really, maybe an hour or so. And then there's writing the emails, which is a bit longer. That's maybe a couple hours or so, depending on how good you are at writing copy and how fast you are with that. And then there is recording the video audits at 15 minutes on average per video. That's an hour for 4 video audits. So really you spent, what, less than 6 hours, just overestimating there, to set up this whole campaign. And we landed 2 clients out of it at a cost of $86 per client. Again, for me, that is worth it. You run the numbers yourself and you decide whether that's worth it or not for you. But that's what actually matters. Right? It's not about your open rate, it's not about your reply rate, anything like that. It's about, is the ROI there from a client acquisition standpoint? Are you landing clients out of this, and is it worth the time and money you're investing to land those clients? If it is, do it more. If it's not, either stop the campaign, or more likely than not, you're doing things wrong, so test things out and tweak the strategy. because obviously you need to send enough emails to get enough data to know if you're doing things correctly or not. Now, if you look at the indicator metrics, which I presume this guy was commenting on, they're actually okay. So we're looking at open rates. I'll show them on the screen. I don't know what our open rate is because I don't care. The open rate can be very high or very low. It depends on your subject line more than anything else. And if your subject line is, I have a question about your service, it's going to be very high. If your subject line is, this is an SEO pitch, it's going to be very low. Now, I'm going with a very direct approach, so it's very low, but I'm presuming, and we have to test this more, that the people that reply are going to be more interested in our service at that point because the open rate is lower, but it's very direct to the point. Now, in terms of reply rates, we're looking at around 2.5% so far, which is okay. It's not particularly amazing. It's not that great neither. But that's roughly what we're looking at. Again, that's 200 emails sent and 5 leads that were good so far. So that's okay. It's not great again, but it's good enough. And again, we don't need that many clients because we're charging a pretty decent amount. It's decent sized businesses. Then when we get to sales, so obviously we sent 4 video audits. One of those leads was just a phone call and then they purchased anyway afterwards. The other 4 video audits, only one of them asked for a phone call, only one of them responded afterwards, which is normal. Out of that 1 video audit, we went on a sales call. We chatted a little bit, then we did a proposal. We had a little bit of extra stuff because a little bit negotiated and everything like that with these guys because there's 2 websites. We talked about a revenue share deal, things like that. We decided not to do it because I just wanted to keep things simple. And then we signed that client. So the stats from that point on are obviously 4 video audits, 1 call out of that, and just 1 straight lead and 1 call out of that. Out of these 2 sales calls, both of them requested a proposal, an SEO plan, whatever you want to call it, and then both of them hired us. So that's how that works out. Now, how do you really measure that to compare this for yourself? Well, the first call, the first sales call, this is just where you ask them questions and get to know them, figure out if you can help them. So if you offer them an SEO proposal, if you offer them a plan, a proposal, 100% of people will say yes, just because they're already on the phone and they're curious. That doesn't mean 100% of people will show up for the call or read it or respond afterwards, but 100% of people will say yes, they want to see that. So that is not a metric that matters. Don't measure this. The only thing that matters on this call is you figure out, can I actually help them? And if you can help them, offer them a proposal. If you can't help them, get rid of them and save yourself a ton of time. All right, it's way more efficient. Now, out of the people that say yes to this, which again, it's going to be everyone that you offer it to, you schedule them in about 2 or 3 days time for a proposal call where you walk through your plan of what you're going to do for them. Now, on this call, you're looking at around 70 to 80% conversion rate. Now again, I'm at 100% conversion rate, but that's not going to stick. I just haven't done that many calls yet. You're looking at really 70 to 80% in most cases. And that is it. That's your indicators. But hey, what if your conversion rate sucks on the sales calls? What if your open rates suck? What if your reply rates suck, but the ROI is still a net positive for you? Maybe you're doing a little bit more of a spammy mass email approach. I'm not a fan of it, but it works. Now, if the ROI is still there from a time perspective and ROI perspective, then it is a good campaign. It doesn't matter what the stats show. But again, calling out that guy in the comment section last time, he was right in a way. My stats aren't anything spectacular. The open rates are nothing special. The reply rates are nothing special. And obviously I didn't land any clients at that point, but that was pending. So he was right in a way, but really it doesn't matter as long as you land clients. Now the actual truth is he was right specifically because I only sent out, yet at this point in the completed campaigns, about 200 emails. And that is the problem. It's not the open rates, it's not the reply rates, and anything like that. It's the lack of emails sent. So you need to get the volume up. Even if you're doing it in a more personalized way, like I am, you'd still be sending 30 emails a day, which I haven't been doing because I'm busy and whatever things, but it doesn't matter, there's no excuse. So make sure you're sending enough emails. That is how you measure the success of the emails. And while we're here anyway, let me give you an update on the next campaign we sent out. So we set up another campaign. This one is, I don't know, 200 emails or so. And let me just show you the stats on the screen again. Now, this is really interesting. So far, the campaign has been really bad. We're not really getting any leads from it or anything like that. It just seemed pretty bad. However, yesterday, we just got 2 leads. Now, one of them, I looked at a website, they don't look like a good fit, but hey, we're in the business of adding value, so we're going to send them a video order anyway and offer some value, so we can help them out. I don't think they'll be a good client, no, because they're selling like gift type things, and I just don't think for the products they're selling, there's going to be that much search for them to make it worth our prices, basically. And the second one I'm super excited about. They're a big international business. I'm a huge fan of their products personally, and I just happened to see them in our list of emails that we're going to send out. So what I did is I went in there, I just added a PS. I just said, PS, by the way, I love your products. I've been using it for this purpose for the last 4 years. I'm a big fan. And just threw that in there just as a little extra mention, just in case they happen to read it. What is even cooler is this was sent to a generic email address. It wasn't like name at, it was like info at or hello at or support at or whatever like that. And last night my time, they responded and they said they're specifically looking to hire an SEO agency because they need help with it and they're interested to see what we can do, which is super exciting. I have no idea if that's going to turn into anything, but it's cool to work with just businesses that I personally am a huge fan of. So that's really cool. So my point there is if you're sending out these emails, don't neglect those bigger companies because you never know, they may still respond. Not to mention, you should be personalizing your emails as mentioned before. If you can throw in a little PS that's custom just for them, it took me 30 seconds and it generated a dream client lead. They're not the biggest company in the world, but it's just a business that I'd really love to work with because again, I'm a huge fan of their company. I'm a huge fan of their products. I'm a personal user of their products. So anyway guys, that is an update so far, and that is how you measure the success of your campaigns. Essentially focus on the time investment and the money, the financial investment, and is that worth it from a return on your investment perspective. It's not about the open rates, it's not about the reply rates, it's whether it is working from that perspective. If it isn't, then you have two choices. Number one, and by the way, you probably want to do both, but you have two choices. Number one, send more emails. Okay, if you sent 200 emails, you haven't landed a client yet, that is normal. The fact I've landed 2, in a way, 3 clients so far is different, and it's maybe lucky. It's probably down to the fact that I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for many years at this time, and a little bit of luck plus that, plus I know how to sell, is working very well together. But most people won't land a client within 200 emails. You're looking at 200, 300, 400 emails to land a single client. So that's number one, send more emails. I haven't sent enough emails. I'm not giving you guys a good example. I need to send more, and I will send more, and I'll update you guys on how that goes as we do it. The second thing is to test tweaks. Okay, if you're sending a crappy email template, your responses are gonna suck. Your results overall are gonna suck, so test things out. The thing that is doing really well for me so far is obviously I've had 2 calls and both of them purchased services from me. That is not usually going to happen, but it has so far, and that's really what's boosted up the conversion rate and made these stats seem better. You're probably not gonna get that unless you've been doing this for a while and you got a little bit lucky, maybe both, right? So test things out, tweak your email copy, and then send more emails. I really emphasize quantity over quality. That doesn't mean spam. It simply means get that 30 emails out a day, at least, contrary to what I'm actually doing myself, and then tweak things as you're going, but at least hit those 30. If you're not hitting those 30 a day, then you're not really pushing hard enough. And again, I'm really calling myself out here because I'm not getting out 30 emails a day myself. So anyway, that is the update. If you're interested in following on as we land new clients and you want to see how we get these clients' results, go ahead, click the like button below, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let me show you how we built up this agency from scratch. So make sure you're subscribed and follow along with this whole journey. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun as we build up this whole agency. That is it for this video. I will see you in the next one.